really the truth is the only zone of responsibility that each one of us has is our own bubble. It's our own opinion of ourselves, our own like we're the center of our own universe, and that universe moves where we do. But if we then take something from a Facebook feed or from some other social media channel and bring that into our experience, we're actually diluting our own energy and we're making up a story.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest, and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Hello there, dear Deb and dear listeners. Hi, Deb. How are you?
Hi, Moira. Hi, listeners. Thanks for coming back every week.
I know. This is awesome. It's Moira and Deb here for another deliciously motivating conversation. Well, at least that's the intention, is to help you feel deliciously motivated.
I love that, deliciously motivating.
I do too. Well, it's a deliciously motivated. It's to help you find the juiciness and the deliciousness of your mindset, because it's there. You just sometimes need to.
Sometimes it's clogged down the drain hole with all the hairs. That ain't delicious. Okay,
that's not so delicious. Okay, that's not so delicious. But
so that's not our intention.
No, that isn't our intention.
No.
Before we get into what we would like to talk about today,
that's right.
It's a goodie. It's going to be a goodie. Oh, but Deb's going, oh man, Moira's introducing, so that means she's going to ask me on a scale. What number is she? So on a scale of 0 to 10, we like to rate ourselves at the beginning of a conversation. So 10 is feeling really stuck, feeling like, oh my gosh, I need help. I don't know what to do. And 0 is feeling completely zen, at peace, calm, balanced. So, she doesn't like picking the number.
Well, damn.
Well.
Okay, so I would say I was a 7. We pre-started.
When we yes.
We pre-started. We've resolved some stuff. I would actually say I'm a 4. A 4 feels right.
Mm-hmm.
However, what we're talking about today, I would say I'm a 2 or a 1 because I'm quite excited about that. So take that, Moira. Figure that one out. So let's say between a 4 and a 2 would be a 3. So let's just say between both I'm a 3. No, today's topic is a great one, a goodie.
Yeah, I'm excited for today's topic.
I would say I'm a 2 with that, or a 1 with that. Yeah, so I'm a 4, 3, 2, 1. Whoops.
And that brings out the snorting laughter, which is awesome.
Let's just see if I move closer to a 0 at the end of it.
So it's interesting. So I do like us to just check in where were we before we hit record. So I would say I was at 4 when we first started talking today, and I'm really excited for this conversation, and it's a theme that's been coming up for me in a lot of different conversations, and even in our conversation prior to hitting record here. So I'm going to say I'm at a 1 on the topic, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Yeah, definitely. I think I actually like the way we've just done this. This is where I am in life, and this is the topic.
Yeah.
I think that's because that's exactly what I feel.
Good.
It's a goodie.
It's a goodie. So, and then we'll encourage you to check in at the end of our conversation. So today we're going to talk about our experience and strategies and ideas to avoid competing and comparing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, even when you first said, I said, what are we talking about today? And you went, oh, this is a goodie. And we don't always say that every time. I just lied. We do. This is a goodie. Yeah, because we've just been talking about this whole thing of strategies to avoid competing and comparing. Yes. So do you want to kick it off?
Sure. So the thing is that I think a lot of us have it hardwired into us, this idea of competing and comparing, because it can come from an old story that says other people are smarter than I am, other people are more gifted than I am, other people are better at fill in the blank. And so then when we start looking at how other people are measuring up, then we devalue our own self. But the true piece of competing and comparing is we are being so dismissive to our own self that it really needs to I think we need to start a campaign that we got to stop that. It's such a waste of our energy, because here's the truth of it. Every one of us is a unique, powerful, divine being. And when we compare ourselves to somebody else, we've completely forgotten that. Because we're not.
You're just going to say, it's really common. It's really common, the amount of people I meet who say, and comparing to what we were when we were in our 20s. Now, I'm clearly not in my 20s. My physical, my mindset, all those things, comparing back to then. So it's not just comparing yourself to others, it's also comparing back to, oh, in my last life I had this, or when I was younger I had this, and holding on to that stuff. Well, and I believe it is a real soul destroyer.
I agree.
That churns you and can turn you just like that, so flipping quickly into having a great day, to seeing, and the amount of women I hear who are walking down the street and they say, oh, and this beautiful woman walked towards me and then I felt fat and frumpy.
Yeah.
And you're comparing yourself to a supermodel or something. You're like, well, yeah, okay, so how's that working for you? Like, that's just bloody stupid.
Well, it is, but it's also you comparing who you truly are on the inside to the external expression of somebody else. You don't know, that person may be miserable, right?
Well, the amount of models I've worked with who have had the label body dysmorphia is incredible. And if people actually knew that, because we know not one person in the world loves every single part of their body. Even though we say we love that certain part, there's still something lopsided, or that we just go, yeah, I love that. Of course I love that. I love my curly toes because they fit into shoes that are smaller. No, you don't. Might be a little story I tell myself as I wedge my feet in. But it's not true. And everybody has something. Social media has a lot to, I'm going to say blame. Well, actually, no, I'm not going to say blame. Yeah, I am. We'll blame ourselves for looking at it. But social media is a lot because people don't do a lot of, I'm having a bad day, look at what's happening in my world. Like, here's my beautiful children. Here's my children who have done this and done this and done this. But, they're not saying the chaotic, they're not sharing the spews. Well, mind you, some of them are now more and more. But they're not actually expressing that stuff that we know goes on behind the scenes. We just go, oh, wow, that person's had a child and their child looks perfect, whereas I can't get my child to eat their vegetables, but they cut up their vegetables in a nice kind of way and da-da-da. You know, that's important to them and their persona, and it makes them feel great about posting that on social media. But the moment you start comparing, you're forgetting about your amazing child who can do something different, which is something that you've installed in them.
Right. But you know, you're bringing up something that I think is really, really important when we get into this idea of competing and comparing. And like you say, social media is a really good example. But really the truth is the only zone of responsibility that each one of us has is our own bubble. It's our own opinion of ourselves, our own like we're the center of our own universe. And that universe moves where we do. But if we then take something from a Facebook feed or from some other social media channel and bring that into our experience, we're actually diluting our own energy, and we're making up a story. We're making up a story that our experience is not enough. And so this is the other part of the competing and comparing, to me, is you not telling the truth about yourself. Who are you? Maybe you are a person, you know, I think about, you were saying about supermodels. I see so many people, and actually we live in times where people are like, oh, look at my roots are showing. I can't go to the hairdresser. And I know a lot of people.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who have embraced their natural hair color. I think that's an awesome thing.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, it's like as we age, our hair might go gray. I actually love all my gray hair. I'm proud of them. And I always have had that opinion. But I know so many people that, oh my gosh, no, they have to dye their
I think
hair
once you have your first one, it's okay. I haven't found one yet, but I think that's probably because I'm blonde and also I don't look. But I think the first one, I think that when the first one hits, everyone will know, and then I'll let it go. But yeah. but it is that, and I think, you know, even just when you talk about the grey hair, people are comparing themselves to their sisters or their mums or whatever. But even though genetics, oh yeah, it's still blood family. We're all very, very different. Yes. So what you've eaten is different to what your sister's eaten. Yep. Your exercise, your sleep, your stress, your non-stress is different to your sister, to your best friend, you know, and comparing to those people, they don't have your DNA. You can't compare. It's just bloody ludicrous. Okay, so
that's it. We fixed it. It's just bloody ridiculous.
It's silly. It's just silly. It's a waste of time and energy. But one of the things strategies to avoid it, one of the things I did was I did go to people who were doing similar. I think I said I'm not going to say this. Well, anyway, as you know, people who do what I do.
We both knew that you were going to.
I think we did that. Obviously didn't tap that one into my brain. And I started friending, just unfollowing. And so, you know, on Instagram. So I didn't see what they were doing because I was going, oh, they're doing that. Oh, that's doing that. Why would you do that? And then I'd get also like, oh, they're not delivering that properly. They're not saying that. And I'd start getting really judgmental. And I'm like, not only am I actually going, oh, I'm not doing that, they're doing that. I would become really high and mighty. Like, oh, why are they doing it like that? Why are they doing it like that? And that's not, and I was spending time by becoming the stalker over actually living what's important to me. Okay, Deborah, if you want to do this, go do this. Or what can you do? Go out and do this.
Yeah.
It wasn't getting ideas. It was more becoming quite judgmental.
Right. And that's a really good point, because that's actually, so see, what you just demonstrated was a really good example of telling yourself the truth. Because sometimes we can look at what other people are doing in our profession and say, oh, that's a great idea. I'd like to try that too. And recognize I just set it up for myself to see that so that I can try it on, or I've just proved to myself it's possible. Or if you're not telling yourself the truth about yourself, you go and say, well, what's wrong with it? Why did they do that? then I must not be good enough, right? So that's the
Yeah.
competing and comparing, whereas you can use it as a foundation to jump off of, to sort of say, I'm going to try that because I've just seen that it's possible. Or, the reason that I'm drawn to going and looking at that post or that way of doing an event or a program, right? So it's about having that discernment within you and understand that everything that we do, everything that shows up for us is actually a reflection of what's going on inside of us.
I was just going to say, it's that damn reflection.
Yep.
The competing and comparing, there's also that side of, like, just going back to that judgment, and then there's the copying, and that is, that is competing, comparing, and copying. That's what we call it, because that's the other thing, is it's going, people look and they go, oh, they're doing this, this, and this, ABC, I'm going to do exactly that, and they copy it.
Yeah.
And yes, you can copy people. You can copy their wording off their website. You can do all that. But at the end of the day, it's not you. So if someone asked you about that and you've stolen that content, or taken that content, taken, nabbed it, whatever you want to, had permission to take it, you can't say those words authentically.
No.
Because they're not your words.
That's right.
So competing, comparing, and copying is another, soul destroyer. And I just put a post up about comparing your prices to others. Stop looking at your competitors' prices, because they deliver their way.
That's right.
With their skill, not yours. And if you bet yourself above or below them, who cares? Don't put yourself below them to nab those people. Put them what you feel's right for you.
Yeah, it's not about nabbing people, right? Because that says that we live in a limited universe, and we sure don't.
A greedy,
Yeah.
desperate place.
Yeah. There is ample opportunity, and the clients that need you will find you. So you need to show up. The clients that need me, I need to show up and be there for them, and not be looking at, oh, how's Deb doing this? How's this coach doing this? How's that teacher pitching their product? It doesn't matter, because the people that need and to hear it from me, or need to be in my energy bubble, they will find it, because I'm going to sit here and be genuine and be real and tell the truth. Right?
Yeah. And it is about there is enough people out there in the world. And one of my mentors, Dr. John DeMartini, said to me, provide value, provide a service.
Yeah.
And that's it. And if providing that service of love and providing value to people, it's definitely, if you focus on those things, it's not competing, comparing, any of that stuff, because you're actually going, what am I doing? Provide that service. And I provide that service to Moira differently to what I do to David, what I do to Jane, and I provide that service. It's got the core of stuff, but everything's different with little steps. Every outcome's different. Well, they will get the gratitude at the end. This is the main crunch of the outcome. But when you're sitting in that world, you're not providing that service. You're not providing that value. You are, it's greedy necessity. I need this, desperation. And when you're sitting in desperation, nothing's going to grow.
Absolutely. But it's coming from a sense of lack. And the law of attraction says you put your attention on that, that's all you see. That's all you create. Mm. So I don't know about you, but I'm going to focus on my gifts that I have to share, my uniqueness, my quirkiness. I'm quirky. Deb's quirky too, but in a different way.
Deb snorts a lot, yeah.
But it's about, so it's that to me. So here's another piece to share with our listeners, is that, like I mentioned to you, I think that propensity to compete and compare is often hardwired into us from at a young age as children. I can think of my of my parents saying to me, oh, look at that person doing such and such. They've really got it nailed, or they figured it out. And so then as a child, you kind of go, oh, but does that mean I'm not good enough? Or it's
Well, I had why aren't you like your sister? And I'd look at my sister and go, I don't want to be like her.
Yeah.
My sister, I don't want to be anything like her. Like, that's why I'm the complete opposite, because I want to be the opposite of her. Nothing against my sister, but that's just a simple thing that our parents possibly say. Why can't you be more like your sister?
Yeah.
Or why can't you? No.
Yeah. Or why can't you be more like that person? Or why can't you? Yeah. And so that's where I'm saying is I think that's where it gets hardwired into us. But now we're adults, so it's time to let all of that old story go, that it's about, I am walking to the beat of my own heart, and I know that I have a mission in this life. And so by staying present, staying in this very present moment is super important, because when we compete and compare, we are not here in this present moment.
I was just thinking that when you're talking about that, yeah.
Yeah. So we've done that thing where I talk about, part of us has gone into the past thinking, well, I used to be able to do that. All right, the last time this happened, blah, blah, blah. And then the other part is shooting off into the future saying, well, if I don't step up and do it like those people are, I'm not going to be successful or make the money or attract the clients or whatever that that's what I want to achieve, right? So if we can bring our awareness and our attention and our focus back into right here, right now. Take a deep breath and put your hand over your heart. And something, it's all about choices. What are you choosing? Are you choosing to be of service and to come from the heart? That actually has to be a yes.
Absolutely. And that just reconfirms about the desperation that we get ourselves into, the pickles we get ourselves into.
Yeah.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
But it is, it's not just like, I'm just going to reiterate yet again, and we have said it, it's not about comparing yourself to other people, but also to your past world. Present.
Has to be present, because the past you, it doesn't exist anymore. So what on earth are you doing bringing that as a filter or as a thing to bonk you over the head with, right?
Yeah, so that past story of I don't amount to anything, I'm not good enough, why can't the teacher say, why can't you be like so-and-so and sit there quietly? Okay, well, yeah, I don't want to.
Don't want to.
Not me.
Just not my way.
Yeah, exactly. That stuff there, and it is a story that we've held on to, a core belief or whatever you want to label it as. So just love and appreciate that has got to where you are right here, right now, as you're listening to it. Write those stories down that you've had, and then send them on their way.
Yeah.
Like, thank you, because why can't you be more like your sister? My sister's very different to me. I love to travel. Clearly I'm not traveling right now, but I love to travel and she doesn't. Right. Even though I had to giggle because she's married an international pilot. So it's even funnier. But my sister and I are very different.
Right.
And I want to be Deborah, not her. And that's who I am. Yeah. And that's why so I love that story. That's right. I love the story that my parents said that. Thank you. That's got me to where I am. Thank that story that's brought you here, sitting in the present, and send it on its way.
Yeah, absolutely. And so it's also to say that if that's what was, patterned or plugged into your awareness. Yeah, programmed. You're the driver of your own bus now. So no invalidation or story or criticism or comparison from your past exists here now. So this is about coming back into the power of your own inner essence. And that's a very powerful manifesting force within each one of us. But it gets like layers and layers and layers of stuff or gunk put on it when you go, oh, look at that person driving that beautiful new car. Oh, look at that person in a wonderful, highly functioning relationship. Oh, look at that. And I have none of those things. So I'm doing something wrong.
It's funny because you don't know what that person's gone through to get that. They may be a mechanic who's driving that car from A to B.
Could be.
You don't know, like that. You have no idea. And even if you stopped and asked them, or even if you knew them, you still don't know. Even if you know them, you still have no concept of 100% unless you big brothered them. Oh, do you have Big Brother over there? As I say,
yes, we do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. In case you film them 24/7, and then you go, oh, but you don't know everything about them to how they've got to where they are right here, right now. You don't know what that whole thing. So it's just such a waste of energy. But recognize it. Don't go, oh, I'm comparing myself and beat myself up about it. Recognize it. Go, oh, here, I can see this little comparison. What have they got that I think I don't have?
But something that I was just thinking of as you were saying that, instead of looking at it as they have it and I don't, I was thinking, as you were saying that, I was thinking of Abraham Hicks. You know the work of Abraham Hicks?
I'm nodding, yes.
He's nodding. No, I love the teachings of Abraham Hicks. And one of the things that I remember hearing was that our job in life is to send out rockets of desire. Just send out your rockets of desire. I'd love to have that. I'd love to have $1 million home on the beach.
It's cute, rockets of desire.
Yeah, so sending out these rockets of desire and then trusting that every one of your desires is answered. But you don't get to, it's not on a timeline. And sometimes, so the universe always gives you what you ask for. So if you are then, so let's just take that idea of a beachfront property. So you send out a rocket of desire for a beachfront property, and then you see somebody who's telling you all about their beautiful beachfront property. You say thank you. You appreciate that because it's actually come into your vibration. Yeah. Just because it's not you in there, but it's saying, here it is. So it's when you appreciate and have gratitude for that, then it can come closer to you and become more of your reality. Whereas if you actually push it away from yourself when you go, oh, well, look at them.
They've got it, I haven't got it.
Yeah, so boo-hoo, look at me.
Yeah.
So just exactly that energy will just constantly, that's you putting your hand up. See, I'm putting my hand up. Putting your hand up and
forget
saying,
with just audio.
and saying, stay out there. Stay out there because I'm not worthy, or they are and I'm not. Right?
Yeah. One of the things I do in my work is when it comes to comparing and we look at what other people have, is we look at where do you demonstrate or display that in yourself.
Yeah.
To take that off the pedestal of, oh my God, they're so amazing, and you hear everybody, just so you know, I'm looking up. They're so amazing. And when the more you do that, the more you squash yourself down in that sandpit.
Yeah.
So you may go, oh my gosh, that person's an amazing speaker. And okay, so whatever amazing speaker means, they can articulate to everyone in the room. Mm-hmm. And so you just go to yourself and you go, oh, but I've never spoken on stage to 100,000 people or whatever. And you go, so where do you do that? where are you an amazing speaker? In the supermarket, someone asked you a question and they listen and they nod and they engage with you.
Right.
Or at the petrol station, or whenever somebody asks you a question, you become knowledgeable. Whether it's a 5-year-old or a 50-year-old or 100 people ask you a question. And you start looking at that stuff that you see in them as also within yourself.
Yeah.
And that just doing that one exercise alone softens, oh my God, I do that. Okay, maybe I don't deliver to 100,000 people at one time on stage, but actually I could say I do because we do the podcast. So I don't know if we hit 100,000 people, Moira. But
awesome.
where do I do that? Where do I hold attention in the room, or whatever it is you're comparing yourself? That person's got a beautiful hair. So where do I have beautiful hair? When I wash it, and where someone's actually complimented me, and all those things that you compare. Where do they look like they've got wealth? So where is my wealth? It may not be in the bank, but I may have the most healthiest family, or I may have the most knowledgeable stuff going on so if you find yourself comparing, just jump into that little exercise, and that I find just softens, and you don't get a sore neck looking up at them anymore. You just see them as equal, so you're both standing on the same platform.
That's excellent, and I completely agree with you, because the thing is that it's to make sure. The only way competing and comparing could work is if you're really actually comparing like to like. And so if you're saying, I want to feel abundant, well, I feel abundant right now, right here. Yeah. I don't care how much money you have in the bank. You can feel that right here, right now. And it's to hold on to a definition or an idea that it's out there. It's not. It's in you. You have everything.
Soul, your core, when you're ready to open your eyes and have a look.
Exactly. Exactly. And so that's what you're saying. I like your analogy there about looking up at somebody saying that they're up on a pedestal. No, they're wherever they are doing their stuff. And so back to what I was saying about that, if you see that beautiful home by the beach, it's yours. That doesn't give you permission to go in and sleep in their bed.
Like, oh, it's me to just rock on up and go, yeah, I'm in the pool here. What's in your fridge?
But you know what I mean? It's like you see it and you say thank you. And that helps you feel that prosperity, that abundance, that worthiness. Because everything you see, remember we talked about this in this conversation about the reflection. So if I see someone with the thing that I say I want, then I actually am just seeing a mirror of it's mine.
What you see in others is also within yourself.
Exactly.
And it's such a simple thing, but it's in their form.
Yeah.
Not necessarily your form.
That's right. And
but
so
yours is in your form. Yeah.
And so but it's to use it as I call this being a spiritual detective. Because if you see that, then you want to appreciate it and feel into, well, I see that, but what is it for me? Is it an indicator that I'm being pulled down to a different level, or is it an indicator that something's about to show up for me? Right? So that statement, I've been saying that whole thing about everything that we see in another is within us. I find that a lot of people are more willing to see and recognize that the bad things they see in other people are within them, and then it's like, well, I suck and I have this and that. But they forget that it's all the good things too. To your point about the idea of a person being on a pedestal, no, you're just seeing something that's within you. And if you put it outside of your reach, then how are you going to actually embody that and embrace it and make it real as part of your own experience, right?
There's over 4,800 characteristic traits that are in the universe, and they are in each person. And if you are challenging to me, I'm going to bring out the perceived negative ones. But if you're supportive to me, I'm going to bring out the supportive characteristic traits.
Right.
So when we find people we resonate with and we gel with those people and we stick to those people, and we rebel against those other people, the perceived negative, which is just what you were saying. But when those negativity comes in and people go, oh, I'm not as mean as her, she's mean this way. Right. Just look at that as well. Look at, where are you mean to people that have upset people, if that's really challenging you. And just even taking ownership of that softens your judgment. I was going to say close for towards that person and what's actually happened to you. And I know I had to giggle as I'm saying this because prior to this call, I was having an offload, just to say an offload to Moira about something. And so as we're talking here, I'm going, oh, where have I done that same thing to other people? Yeah, just to soften that that angst about what's happened in my world. And just even that, comparing that's just another. And even though I'm not competing with that, it's just softening that judgment, that critical, that high and mighty, that I'm actually the one on the pedestal looking down on that person. Right.
And the other part in all of this too is that when we get into those kind of mind games or allowing our energy to get pulled off to somewhere else, is that we are all spiritual beings and our higher self is unconditionally loving us all the time, since the day you were born. And so any kind of competing or comparing or saying that somebody's better than, or even the judging, they're not as good as, you're actually denying that you are perfect as you are right in this moment. So therefore, if you can really get into that, then really there is no comparison. Because you are worthy and you are awesome and you are right where you should be according to your own life map, your own journey through this experience.
So when you find yourself going into,
and there we've got some.
When you find yourself going into that judgment, that critical, that crazy, just stop and go, what's really going on? Is this an old story I need to let go? Or is this something that I've missed in me? So actually stop and take the time. It might take you 30 seconds. It might take you a minute. It might take you 2 minutes. But it's really worthwhile to acknowledge it, see it, acknowledge it, and let it go as quick as you can so you can carry on with your day with more inspiration, with more divine energy, with more deliciously motivating energy, mindset energy, that can allow you to
clarity.
Keep functioning.
It gives you the clarity. And I like that. You're quite right. It's just that pause and take a few deep breaths. Remind yourself you're here. Be here.
Yeah.
And then watch, because that's a beautiful way of resetting and then getting back on track with your amazing, auspicious creation of a day, right?
Absolutely, because you can't be creative and provide a service of love when you're sitting in your poop. Moira's waiting for something significant and very spiritual then. You can't do that.
That's basically what it is.
And that's how we're going to end the call today.
That's pretty much all there is to say now.
So thank you, Moira. Thank you, listeners. Strategies to avoid competing and comparing. Where's your number, Moira? How's that shifted? Or do you want to add anything on to the end of it, how we just ended it?
No, I think you've wrapped that up perfectly.
Okay,
I probably wouldn't have used those words, but I totally got it.
Yep. So what you were I don't even know what number you were.
I think I was a 1 or a 2. I can't remember now. But I would say I'm a 0 because I love digging into this one. because I think I have worked through a lot of this about the competing and comparing. Coming from my whole story that I've talked to you about before, and our listeners, about me being in a cult, that's really awesome learning ground for this competing and comparing.
That's a very quick, fast track learning ground. You're on that treadmill very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm very grateful for the experience, but I love to really help people come to peace and actually start to realize how powerful they are. It's not about this person or that person or this situation. It's like, no, you've got the power. Oh, there's a song. You've got the power.
Just so people know I'm dancing here.
Dancing now. And so, yes, I would put myself at a 0. How about you?
I don't even know what I started at. I think
say you were a 4-3-2.
Oh, that's right. I was a 4-3-2-1, wasn't I?
Yeah.
I would say I've got a few things to work through. So I'm going to say I'm a 2 in my life. And on the topic of today, I loved it. So I'm a 0 on that. A 0 on that, but a 2 in life.
Okay, and that's a very good point. I would say I'm a 2 in life too. So I'll concur. We'll be
Don't
a 2
you
and a
copy
0.
me?
I'll copy
Don't you compare and copy me?
Well, see, I still saw it in you, so it must be for me too.
Okay, then.
Okay.
Great job. Thank you, everybody, for today, for the Deliciously Motivated Mindset podcast, Strategies to Avoid Competing and Comparing. Let us know what numbers you are. Let us know if there's anything in particular you'd like us to talk about. Jump on over to our Facebook page, private message us, anything. Just don't hide away.
Absolutely. Let us know how this is for you, how it's landing for you.
Yeah. And for God's sake, don't compare us to you as well.
No, people. Gosh.
God.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely don't. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, Deb.
Thanks.
Bye.